Hello and welcome back to Mountain Outhouse Live Edition. I'm your host, Jam Jam, and I don't have any sunglasses on. What am I even doing today? All right, folks, we are getting right into it, and we are going to be talking today about what is coming up in ultra running this weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's get right into it. We are going to be talking about what is happening in ultra this weekend in running. So if you have any feedback or questions for me in the chat, please drop them. I'm already seeing a couple of you here in the chat loving the recent content. That is from Craig, and we got a shout out Zachary Resin here. Glad my work meeting ended early so I could catch it live. So here we go. What is happening in ultra running this weekend? June 11th and 12th. We're going to kick things off with the 26th running of the Kettle Moraine 100. They did do some live streaming last year. I'm not seeing that this year, but they are going to be in Wisconsin running this race. Let's go ahead and take a look at their website. This is what it is looking like. They will have race day tracking. You can head over to the Ornery Mule website to get that tracking. And that will be kicking off at 6 a.m. as the 100-miler. There's also a 100K, a 50K, and a 38-miler. 38-mile fun run, mind you. So that is that. Anyone out there? I actually did talk to Scotty Coomer, who will be out at one of the aid stations at Kettle this weekend. So shout out to him. And he says, of note, Devin Yanko is running. And the course record for the ladies is 18 hours, 12 minutes. And it stood for 24 years. And the race is 27 years old, it says. So that will be interesting to keep an eye out for. Will we see a new ladies course record this weekend at the hands of Devin Yanko? But that is the Kettle Moraine 100. And it sounds like Scott Rokas is going to be out there getting some photos. And, Henri Mule is in the chat and says, we are marking the course right now. Thanks for the shout out. Love it. Thanks for tuning in the midst of your work out there. All right, let's circle back. Next up, we have, I got to mention too, there's going to be some prize money. So $250 for male and female winners and course records. So if Devin can get that course records, an extra $250 for her this weekend. All right, over to Pennsylvania, the Laurel Highlands. This is a 70-mile, 50-mile, and we're going to pull up their website over here. Let's see if we can find out a little bit more about the races here. I'd love to pull up. Let's see if I can pull up a course map, possibly, to see what this looks like. So this is the entirety of the Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail point-to-point race. That is so cool. I love it when races utilize a trail in its entirety, even if it's an odd distance as far as the sport goes. So this is kind of cool. If you want to enter the race, you simply just click on this application down here and mail it on in. You love to see it. Boom. It looks like this race is full. So if you want to snag into that race, you're going to have to do the old school mail-in entry for that one. Next up, we've got the Shadow of the Giants single loop 50K in California. So this thing goes past a bunch of giant sequoias. 31st running of that race. Let's see, where is that one? I did pull that up somewhere. And here it is, Shadow of the Giants. This one is one that has escaped me. I haven't run this race yet, but it looks like a great one. Here's some photos. Oh my gosh, we're getting spammed over here. There we go, the Shadow of the Giants. Here's some photos from last year. Definitely copyrighted photos. Looks like a good time over there. Let's see if we can find out anything else about the race. Last year, they had 107 finishers. This race has been a little bit bigger in 2018, 158 finishers. And not too many competitive times last go around. but we'll see this weekend. Yeah, we'll see how that one pops off. I'm actually gonna try and pull up there. I'm gonna try and find the entries list real quick. We'll take a quick gander at it. All right, we'll pull that up here. So in the 50K, I got 159 entrants. See if I recognize any of these names. Looks like a lot, mostly California folks. I don't recognize a ton of these names. Rob McNair, I do know that name. He is a legend over there in California. Did some trail work with him out on the AC 100 course one year. And let's see about the ladies. We'll sort by them. There's 64 of them running. And we got Carmen Pedraza of Fresno, Sarah Ferguson of Madeira. So mostly a locals race for the Shadow of the Giants, it appears so. So good luck to everyone who's running that one. And we'll pop back over here. We got the Wy'east Wonder. This is taking place in Parkdale, Oregon. It's a 50-miler and 50K. Point-to-point net downhill courses. Seems like a wonderful course all around. And this is it's actually the local tribe's name for Mount Hood is Wy'east. Let's go ahead and click on that one. I believe this race has been going on for a few years. It looks like since 2018. So this is going to be the 4th edition. Looks to be quite popular with 180 finishers in each race and some pretty speedy times. We're talking, we've seen some really fast times in the 50K. 3:34 is the course record and a 6:39 for the 50-mile. And over in the chat, we got Marshall Vision, looks like tuning in from the UK. Thank you so much for joining us today as we recap some of the upcoming events this weekend in this new live format. We got a lot of positive feedback last weekend to kind of kick off what is happening. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up again the Wy'east Wonder, hopefully the entrance list here. Looks like they do have it. So in your 50-miler, Dylan Bowman is registered. So you know he's going to throw down. You got Ryan Kaiser, also of Bend, Oregon, and Larry Newman. Yassine Daboon, not a surprise there. He's going to be towing the line. So some fast folks in the 50-miler, that's for sure. What about the ladies? Stacy Marion, Kira Kennedy are your top contenders there. Let's pop over to the 50K. We got Eric Hillier and Mike Rossi. Not a ton of results, but these guys might be pretty quick. And for the ladies, let's see if you recognize any of those names. We got Kristen Steffen, Megan Biddix, Sarah Ryder. Don't know those ones, but it looks like a heavy Pacific Northwest contingent. So best of luck to everyone in the Wy'east Wonder this weekend. Again, if you are joining us live, if you have any beta on any other events that we should highlight in this live show heading into the weekend, please pop into the comments. Let me know what you're seeing out there, and we will be sure to cover it before we're done today. Next up, we have a couple, I got to shout out Aravaipa races this weekend, the first of which will be the Flagstaff Extreme Big Pines. So this is an event taking place in Flagstaff, Arizona. It's a really fun camping festival weekend. It's in the same park that the Made in the Shade Beer Festival takes place, so there's a ton going on. A lot of our runners will be running a double header, so Friday night is the blackout night runs, then Big Pines on Saturday, and there's the beer festival Saturday afternoon and evening. So camping all weekend in Flagstaff, Arizona, just a great time. One thing to highlight this year is there is a new 50K course. If I can scroll down to our course map here. So in the past, we've done this as a 4-lap of this red, all within the park. And now you see there's the blue, green, yellow loops that will be done, looks like twice. So that should be a good time. They'll see some more terrain out there this weekend. And we got a shout out from Miggy Lobos in the chat here. Hello, hello. And then Hillary Thornton says, I'm flying to Switzerland in a few hours. Anything big going down there in June? Let's see. Well, close by in France is the Marathon du Mont Blanc. I'm not sure about this weekend. We'll see if we can find that out real quick here. So that's the Big Pine race. And we will head over to... I've lost track of all my links. I apologize. Ring the Springs. This is taking place in Colorado Springs. Brand new Aravaipa Colorado event. We've got a 100 miler, which goes up into the mountains near Pikes Peak, and then a loop around and through town. The 50 miler is also a loop around town. I'm going to be heading out there tomorrow. We'll be giving some coverage this weekend of the event over on the Aravaipa socials. We do have a smaller field this first year for the race. And we'll go ahead and take a quick look at that. I think we have about 31 registered for the inaugural 100 miler. Here is that entry list. So good luck to all of you. We will see you soon. Thanks for joining us. We've got Adventuring Across America, watching from Hannibal, Missouri. Loving this. Thank you so much for tuning in. So that is the Aravaipa events this weekend. And I did have another one that I wanted to touch on here, the Warhammer 100. This is according to Next Opportunity Events, who puts this race on, Kentucky's hardest foot race, period. 100 miler, 50 miler, 50K. This is in London, Kentucky. I personally have never been to Kentucky, but this looks like a good time. And look at that award right there. Men's 100-mile winner, course record holder Brandon Whistler. They get I guess the actual Warhammer right there. Pretty sweet. And then all finishers receive a mini hammer, as well as a wooden belt buckle. So here's a couple photos of the event. And let's see if we can find out anything else interesting. It looks like those are the podium awards there. The mini hammer medals for all participants. And there's your course profiles. You can see a lot of jaggedy ups and downs. The 100 miler, believe it or not, 101 miles with 15,000 feet of climbing. Pretty solid for Kentucky. We got Zachary Resin here in the chat with a little beta on the Cool Moon in Cool, California, happening this weekend. Nearing 100 degrees on Saturday. That is kind of the focus of the weekend. It's going to be hot all across, I think, the West. Arizona's supposed to be, I think, in the 110 or teens. Flagstaff's supposed to be nearing 90. Colorado Springs is going to be 88. So it's going to be a warm one if you're running any race in the Southwest here. Hillary Thornton says, great awards from Warhammer. And Ryan Ball says, not coming up for a bit, but any plans on coming back for Wasatch 100 ever? I've been out there to pace it a couple times. I would love to make it back, just not sure if the schedule allows for it. All right, I've got one more to share from you. This is an international race that I found. And this is the Centurion. Centurion puts this on, the Centurion South Downs Way 100. This is their live tracking link, so it is in the southern side of England here. And looks like a point-to-point from Winchester to Eastbourne. Here is your live tracking link. I believe these circles might be the aid station locations. And this will be kicking off this weekend. Looks like a ton of runners. Wow. So this tracking looks to be pretty cool. And they do like a weird loop-de-loop to get this thing started off. They're running maybe a complete circle, like kind of unwinding. And then they're running along maybe the South Downs Way Trail potentially. If anyone knows anything more about this race, please let me know in the chat. Looks like this might be partly or possibly wholly a road race of sorts. Looks like it goes through a number of towns, but also through some areas with some terrain, so possibly a mix of trail and road. We'll look this up real quick, see if we can find out a little bit more. This takes place the South Downs Way hiking trail. So here's a little video preview for you. So yeah, definitely looks like a trail run. National trail here. Rolling hills, ancient forts, picturesque villages, and expansive views across southern England. And it's the 10th annual event here. Looks like a good time. So we'll keep an eye out on that one as well. And I was going to take a quick look back at this last weekend and kind of wrap up this week's show. So we had a Skyrunner World Series race this last weekend in Switzerland. You can see who won there. There was the Swiss Canyon Trail. Someone was just asking about Switzerland races. So this one had 3 different distances in Couvet, Switzerland. We also had a sky race in the UK. Pau Capel, it looks like he tied for the win at the Black Mountain Trail race in France. We talked about the Vashon Island 50K last weekend. Looks like Ben Winfield won in 3:52. Ian Sharman ran a 2:33 marathon, Newport Marathon in Oregon. We had the San Diego 100. Ruperto Romero won that at age 58 with Catherine Lawn as the women's champ. I missed this one. The Golden Gate Dirty 30 did take place this last weekend. We had Brian Whitfield and Addie Bracey as your winners. Not a surprise there. A couple of great athletes. The Durango Skyline, talked about that one a little bit, I think, in the news show this week. Definitely a tough race. Harvey Lewis, we missed this one last week as well. The Fans Ultra Races in Minnesota did a 24-hour effort, 148.68 miles. We talked about the World's End last week, and that was in Pennsylvania. We had Justin Scheid and Rebecca Kosick as your winners there for the 100K. And then Old Dominion, Chad Lassiter and Kathleen Cusick. And I saw a comment in this week's Outhouse News that a bunch of Grand Slammers ran it and finished it. I haven't seen that page updated yet, but we do have the Old Dominion results here. You can see as we scroll through a handful of sub 24 hours. Ed Yang, I think, was a Grand Slammer. Keith Straw's a Grand Slammer. He finished in 27:45. It looks like he was the last finisher there. So 51 out of 65 entries possibly were the finishers there. We also saw the Cayuga Trails 50-mile 50K race. And that's about it. We talked about Warhammer. And I think that is about all. So if there's any more questions in the chat, I'll hang out for another couple minutes, and then we're going to wrap this show up. Charlie Seymour, time to get that heat acclimation going. You know it. It's definitely time. Brandon Walton in the chat here says, see you tomorrow in Colorado Springs. Brandon, are you running the race? Are you volunteering? You just hanging out? Talk to me. Hillary Thornton says, another great show, Jamil. So much great stuff going on this time of year. I will agree with you. It is absolutely packed this time of year with races seemingly all over the country. Pretty cool to see it. Marsho Vision says, thanks for the show. Great work. Kelly Baker, any thoughts on the new Iron Face challenge at Broken Arrow? Too bad they can't live stream that. I think it's pretty cool. It'll be fun to see how that format plays out. And we'll be talking more about Broken Arrow at Aravaipa Trail Talk over on that YouTube channel. This next Tuesday, we're going to do a whole Broken Arrow preview show. And then I'm going to be out at Broken Arrow again this year. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Brandon Walton says he's running the 100 at Ring the Springs. So good luck to you. I saw that the team is already getting things set up over there. What I didn't realize, the Ring the Springs that's in the logo of the race It's like this big kind of circular sign it actually exists. It's a big statue, and it's also a fountain. Didn't realize it was a fountain. It's pretty awesome. So water drips down through the whole thing. Pretty neat. Charlie Seymour says Broken Arrow. We'll definitely be covering that next week's show. Why isn't Old Dominion a bigger deal given its history? You know, that is a great question, and I think someone even commented that it might have been the first official 100-miler since Western States, the first year that it ever happened, I think was only plus or minus 90 miles, so it was quite a bit short. I don't know if it's just a marketing thing or the course isn't as appealing as, say, like a Western States or Leadville, but yeah, it's certainly interesting that it hasn't caught on maybe as much as the older races. It's still a relatively small, low-key, old-school race. C. Chad Run says, I'm here. What did I miss? Fellow runner from Colorado. Been looking at and wrapping my head around running a 100-mile race. Which one should I do? Oh, man. I mean, there's so many options, Chad. I don't even know where to begin. I think it just depends, I think, what interests you. You know, do you want to run a point-to-point course, a single loop course, a lapped course? Something with climbing versus not climbing. I think there's really a wide range. For me, the first time I ran the 100-mile distance, it was at a 24-hour race on a 500-meter course, but then the first true 100-mile race I did was the Angeles Crest 100, which is a point-to-point mountain race. So it's really kind of up to you. There's plenty of options in Colorado that you could find that are local if you just want to pick something that's local to you, or certainly, you know, it looks like there's more and more options across the Midwest as well. As far as events here in Arizona that we put on, the Coldwater is a pretty good one. Javelina 100 is a great one. It is sold out this year. Could do Ring the Springs next year. It's always a good option as well. Just looking for a good experience and loves the mountains. Yeah, I'm not sure what your timeline is, but there are so many Colorado races now. You might want to check out Run Rabbit Run. Could be a good one, kind of high altitude in nature. We got a shout out about the Chester Ultra 100, a mile and a half from my front door. I should really do it. I mean, that's convenient right there. I'll tell you what. Ring the Springs is a good idea. Yeah, for sure. I think it's been a little tough to convey what the course is like, but hopefully after this year, we'll have some more content out there to showcase all the different trails and what makes that event unique. Missing those Mountain Outpost podcasts with Skizzle and Jam Jam. We hope to bring those back soon as well, at least a couple times a month. All right. Well, I'm going to have to wrap things up for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you did enjoy this live show, live version, please comment. Let me know so that I can keep doing them. Only want to do them if you guys are enjoying it. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.